It's well documented that Fort Worth is growing. And so we have to strategically and continuously plant churches to meet the spiritual growth and the spiritual need of Fort Worth. And so Plant Fort Worth is just churches in the city coming together and saying, we need more churches. There needs to be more of a gospel presence in every area of the city. We're not just going to plant churches in the cool areas or the gentrified areas, but all over the city, there needs to be a gospel presence of the local church.
One of the most common hindrances to churches being planted is a lack of training. And not a lack of information, because there's plenty of that out there, but an actual lack of hands-on, collaborative training to test and discern whether church planting is right for you, whether you've walked through the competencies that are needed for planting a church, whether your heart is ready for it, your family is ready for it. And to that end, Plant Fort Worth is honored to host 2 different residencies. A church planting residency is kind of what you think. It's for households, planters, residents who are within about a year or 18 months away from planting, or maybe you have just planted and need some extra training once you're already on the ground. This will walk through the different competencies of planting and leading a church for the sake of discipleship and mission. The second residency is what we call a discernment residency. Perhaps you are 3 or 4 years out. The idea of leading or planting a church intrigues you. You've been affirmed in the raw materials, but you know that you have a few more steps to take. Our discernment residency is designed to help you figure out where you fit for the sake of God's mission and ministry. Both the discernment residency and the church planting residency are designed to fit within about 8 to 10 hours of your week. So you can participate while you're in your current ministry job or another job or even finishing up school. Both also combine multiple components to create a truly holistic training. The first component is assignments and prep work. You do these on your own, and then you bring them to the second component, which is our lab weeks. You get to spend time with fruitful, experienced trainers in different church planting competencies. The third component is spouses. We find often that wives are not considered in church planting, and turns out this endeavor matters to your entire household. So wives have their own coaching cohort as well as are invited into many of the lab weeks. The fourth component is your sending church. You work with them on a personal development plan since they know you and walk with you in the context of this ministry and training. And then finally, your sending organization wants you to be trained and assessed in specific elements, and we create time for that as well.
I think my biggest takeaway from this residency has been the camaraderie with the other guys that are involved, and also meeting their wives and hearing about the churches that God is calling each of them to plant in different contexts around the city.
My biggest takeaway with this residency is the practical application of getting ready to plant a church this year, and kind of working through the details of what it looks like, both personally, but also with our church. What do the gatherings look like? What kind of culture do we want to have?
Both Plant Fort Worth residencies start in the fall, and applications are open through the previous May. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and we hope that you'll apply today and let us come alongside you as you take this next step in your church planting journey.